If you've ever stayed in a house that didn't quite feel like home, you'll understand this story. Because sometimes it's not about creaking doors or flickering lights. It's about the silence. The kind of silence that feels like someone is watching you, even when you're alone. This is a real story about the dark room, and what happened one night still makes my blood run cold. Back in 2019, I was living in Delhi for my first job. Rent was expensive, so I found a shared apartment with two other guys, Rohan and Imran. The flat was decent, but there was one problem. One of the rooms was always locked. The landlord told us, "It's just a storeroom. Old things are kept inside. Don't open it." We didn't think much of it. Who cares about one dark room, right? Our bedrooms were next to each other and life was normal. We worked, came home late, cooked noodles, played games, the usual. But from the very first week, that locked room felt wrong. Even though no one used it, a damp smell always came from inside. And sometimes late at night, I'd hear a faint thud, like someone shifting furniture inside. One night when I mentioned it, Rohan laughed. "You think too much. It's an old house, sounds will come." Maybe he was right. At least that's what I wanted to believe. A few weeks later, things got stranger. One evening, I came home early. The flat was empty, but as I unlocked the main door, I heard whispering. Very faint but clear. Two voices. It was coming from the dark room. I froze. My hand was still on the door handle. The voices stopped the second I stepped inside. I stood there, staring at that locked door. The corridor light flickered, and for the first time, I felt real fear. When the others came home, I told them. Imran brushed it off. "Maybe you heard the TV sound." But the TV wasn't even plugged in. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps in the corridor. Slow, heavy, dragging footsteps. I thought maybe it was Rohan going to the washroom. But when I peeked outside, the corridor was empty. The footsteps stopped right outside that locked door. I shut my door quickly, heart racing. The worst night came a month later. It was raining heavily. Power kept cutting in and out. Rohan was out of town, and Imran was on a night shift. I was alone. Around midnight, the power went again. I lit a candle and tried to sleep, but then I heard the lock on the dark room click. At first, I thought maybe I imagined it. But then the door creaked open. I swear on everything. I saw it. A shadow. Not against the wall, not from the candle. A real figure. Tall, bent, almost crawling out of that room. Its head hung low, arms too long, fingers grazing the floor. I froze in bed, holding the blanket to my chest. The figure stepped into the corridor, and I could hear it breathing. Deep, wet breaths. "Who's there?" I whispered, my voice shaking. It stopped. Slowly, the head turned towards my room. I slammed my door shut, locked it, and pressed my back against it. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. For the next few minutes, I heard scratching on my door. Long, slow scratches. Then silence. The power came back around 2 a.m. When I finally opened the door, the corridor was empty, but the darkroom door was wide open. Inside, nothing. Just broken furniture, dust, and one old chair facing the corner. The next morning, I told the landlord everything. He went pale. Then he admitted, the room used to belong to his brother. He was mentally unstable, locked himself inside for weeks, and one night, he hanged himself from the ceiling fan. Since then, no tenant had ever stayed long in that flat. Some reported whispers, some saw shadows, but no one stayed after that. I moved out the same week. Rohan and Imran thought I was overreacting, but I couldn't sleep in that place again. Even now, years later, whenever there's a blackout at night and I see a dark corner in my room, I remember that figure stepping out slowly, scratching at my door. And I know that room is still waiting for someone. If you ever rent an apartment and the landlord tells you one room is always locked, ask why. Because sometimes, behind that door, it's not just old furniture. It might be waiting for you too.